Let me tell y'all something real quick. Everybody want to be loved. Everybody want to feel seen. Ain't nobody walking around here trying to be ignored, rejected, or treated like background noise. So when I say how to make somebody obsessed with you, I ain't talking about tricks, games, or mind control. I'm talking about how to become the kind of person that naturally draws people in, not just romantically, but in business friendships, life. Now let's break this down scientifically, but I'm gonna put it in plain English so everybody can understand. Confidence is magnetic. It's the one quality that pulls people in before you even speak a word. Real confidence isn't about being loud or dominating the room. It's about a quiet, unshakable belief in your own worth. You walk differently when you believe in yourself. Your posture changes, your eyes hold more focus, and your presence demands attention without ever needing to beg for it. People notice that. They're drawn to it because in a world full of insecurity, doubt, and comparison, someone who owns who they are without apology stands out like a light in a dark room. Science backs this up with something called the halo effect. That means when someone sees one positive trait in you, like confidence, they subconsciously assume you got a whole lot of other good traits too. They think you're more intelligent, more attractive, more capable of even before they really get to know you. That's how powerful confidence is. It opens doors before you even knock. People start leaning in when you talk. They believe what you're saying just because of how you're saying it. Not because you're arrogant, but because you speak with certainty, clarity, and purpose. But let's get one thing straight. Confidence doesn't mean perfection. It doesn't mean you've got it all figured out. Some of the most confident people still make mistakes, still have insecurities, still get nervous. The difference is they don't let those things define them. Confidence is knowing your flaws, owning them, and still choosing to show up fully. It's the courage to try even when you're not sure. It's the strength to be authentic when pretending would be easier. That kind of confidence resonates deeply with people. It creates a sense of respect and trust. Think about the people you're drawn to. Most of the time, it's not because they're the best looking or the most successful. It's because they seem sure of themselves. They're comfortable in their skin. They laugh easily. They speak with conviction. They carry themselves like they belong, even in places they've never been. That's not luck. That's learned. Confidence is built. Every time you keep your word to yourself, you build it. Every time you get back up after failing, you grow it. Every time you choose honesty over approval, you reinforce it. And every single day you choose to show up, even if your voice shakes or your hands tremble. You feed that confidence more than any compliment ever could. People obsess over those who reflect something they crave within themselves. And confidence is one of those rare things that everyone wants, but few truly master. When you embody it, you become a mirror for others. They don't just admire you. They want to be around you in hopes that some of it will rub off. That's why confident people are naturally magnetic. You could be wearing regular clothes, no fancy title, no fame. But when you walking like you know who you are, people feel it. You don't have to say, look at me. They already are. Not because you asked for it, but because confidence announces itself without a word. Listening like it matters is one of the most underrated but powerful tools for creating deep, lasting connections with people. In a world full of distractions, noise, and people waiting for their turn to talk, truly listening to someone makes you stand out. It's not just about hearing words. It's about giving someone your full presence, your undivided attention. When you listen with real intent, the other person doesn't just feel heard. They feel understood, validated, and important. That feeling is rare, and that rarity is what makes it powerful. When someone speaks to you and you're really listening, you're not just nodding along while formulating your response. You're tuning into their tone, watching their body language, noticing the emotion behind their words. You're not waiting to interrupt, correct, or shift the conversation back to yourself. You're giving them space to be who they are, say what they feel, and express themselves without judgment. That space builds trust. And trust is the foundation of obsession, because people don't become drawn to someone who talks the most. They become drawn to someone who makes them feel the most seen. Psychologically, the brain responds to being truly listened to with the release of dopamine. That's the same feel-good chemical triggered by things like love, laughter, and pleasure. Listening becomes a kind of emotional gift. When you do it right, You're literally making someone feel better just by being present. And the person starts associating that positive emotion with you. They'll walk away from that conversation feeling lighter, clearer, more valued. And they won't forget the experience. They may not remember every word you said, but they will absolutely remember how it felt to talk to you. People are often more desperate to be heard than they are to be helped. That's why the best listeners are often mistaken for the most wise, even when they hardly speak. They carry that quiet power, the ability to draw others in just by being there. If you listen closely, people will tell you exactly who they are, what they need, and how they want to be loved. You don't have to guess, manipulate, or impress. You just have to care enough to listen. And that care comes through in your silence, in your eye contact, in the way you nod at the right moment or remember a small detail later that shows you were paying attention. Those small things create big emotional impact. It's easy to underestimate the value of listening because it seems passive, but it's actually one of the most active things you can do in a conversation. It takes effort. It takes humility. You have to put your ego aside and shift the spotlight away from yourself. You have to be willing to be changed by what you hear, or at the very least, be open to it. That openness is rare, and rare makes people curious. Rare makes people want more. You don't have to be the most interesting person in the room to get someone's attention. You just have to be the most interested. That energy is magnetic. That effort is felt, and people will start gravitating toward you. Not because you said all the right things, but because you give them the rare gift of feeling truly heard. Mirroring someone subtly to build trust is one of those powerful psychological tools that works quietly in the background without ever needing to be obvious. It's the art of aligning with someone's energy, not by faking who you are, but by tuning in so closely that your body language, your tone, your expressions start to reflect theirs in a natural, seamless way. People are drawn to what feels familiar. When someone sees a bit of themselves in you, even subconsciously, they feel safer, more comfortable, more connected. That's the power of mirroring, and it's backed by science. Our brains are wired to seek out sameness because sameness feels like safety. When two people are in sync, their gestures tend to match. They lean in at the same time, smile in response to the same triggers, or speak at a similar pace. That's not just coincidence, it's rapport. And when you deliberately, yet subtly, start mirroring someone's physical movements, speech patterns, or emotional tone, you create that sense of rapport faster. You're telling their brain, without saying a word, hey, I get you, I'm with you, we're on the same page. And that unspoken message builds trust. Trust leads to closeness, and closeness leads to fascination. And now this doesn't mean you should become a copycat or mimic people to the point where it feels fake or robotic. That's not connection. That's theater. The key is in the subtlety. You mirror just enough to create alignment, but not so much that it draws attention. If someone crosses their arms, you wait a moment and maybe place your hands together. If they speak calmly, you soften your tone too. If they're animated and expressive, you allow a little more movement in your gestures. You don't need to do exactly what they do. You just need to reflect their rhythm, like two dancers finding the same beat. This creates an emotional rhythm between you and the other person. People begin to feel like they're being understood without having to explain every little thing. That feeling is addictive. It makes conversations feel effortless, comfortable, and safe. And once someone feels safe with you, they begin to open up more. They share more. And with every layer they reveal, the bond deepens. They start to associate that feeling of ease and comfort with you. And that's when the real connection starts forming. What's even more powerful is that mirroring doesn't stop at body language. You can mirror someone's values, priorities, and emotional state by showing empathy and understanding. If someone is passionate about something, you lean in and share that energy. If someone is being vulnerable, you drop the armor and meet them there. Emotional mirroring is one of the strongest connectors because it shows people that you're not just listening. You're feeling with them. That level of connection is rare in casual interactions. And when people find it, they naturally want more of it. Even in silence, mirroring works. If someone is sitting in a relaxed posture and you mirror that, the silence doesn't feel awkward. It feels shared. It feels like both people are tuned into the same frequency. That's what makes mirroring so effective. It works without words, without explanation. It communicates. You're not alone in this moment. That's a powerful message. especially in a world where so many people feel unseen, unheard, and disconnected. Mirroring taps into something primal. It reminds us of the way babies learn to connect with their parents. It's a reflection of attention, care, and recognition. And the moment someone feels recognized, not just seen, but recognized, something shifts. The walls come down and the bond starts to grow. Keeping some mystery is one of the most effective and timeless ways to create intrigue, attraction, and emotional pull. It's not about playing games or withholding for the sake of power. It's about pacing how much of yourself you reveal and when. In a world where people overshare within the first 5 minutes of meeting someone, mystery becomes a magnetic force. When you don't lay everything on the table right away, you give people space to become curious. You create a sense of discovery, and people are naturally drawn to what they don't fully understand. The unknown keeps them engaged, leaning in or wanting more. The brain is wired to seek out answers. When someone can't quite figure you out, when there are still layers they haven't seen yet, they remain interested. It's like a great movie. You wouldn't want all the plot twists spoiled in the first 10 minutes. You lose interest. The same principle applies to relationships. When you reveal your whole life story, your emotions, your past, your plans, your opinions, all at once you remove the need for exploration. You remove the chase. But when you share selectively, intentionally, and let people earn deeper access to your world, you build anticipation. That anticipation is powerful, and it creates emotional momentum. Mystery doesn't mean being secretive or deceptive. It means holding on to your depth. It means knowing that you don't have to prove yourself by explaining every detail of who you are. Some things are better left revealed through time, through experience, through presence. Let people discover you like a good book, page by page, not all at once. When someone thinks they know everything about you too soon, their mind starts to settle. But when there's still more to uncover, they stay engaged. Their thoughts keep returning to you, wondering what you're thinking, what drives you, what's still hidden beneath the surface. That kind of mental presence is the beginning of obsession. Mystery also keeps you in control of your emotional energy. When you don't rush to fill every silence, to explain every decision, or to justify every feeling, you maintain a sense of power and self-assurance. People notice that. They start to respect your boundaries, your space, your self-worth. It's not coldness, it's self-possession. And when you operate from that place, you become someone others feel they have to earn, not just someone they stumble upon and consume immediately. That kind of value sticks in people's minds long after the conversation ends. Even in the way you express interest, mystery has its place. You can show someone you care without over-explaining or giving away every thought in your head. A look, a pause, a well-timed compliment can be far more impactful than a long speech. When you speak with intention instead of volume, your words carry more weight. They land harder. They're remembered longer. That kind of communication builds deeper connections because it's not just what you say. It's what you withhold that speaks volumes. Mystery also creates emotional pacing. Instead of overwhelming someone with everything at once, you allow them to process, to feel, to respond. You match their energy, but you don't overextend. You let moments breathe. You stay present, but not overexposed. And that balance creates a healthy tension. One that keeps people wondering where they stand, what you're thinking, and what's coming next. That wonder is what drives interest forward. It fuels anticipation. It builds a craving for your presence because every time they're around you, they get a little more, but never too much. It keeps the experience fresh, the connection dynamic, and the emotional investment growing. Being a source of positive emotion is one of the most magnetic things a person can be. In a world where negativity is loud, where people are tired, stressed, and emotionally drained, someone who consistently brings light into the room is unforgettable. It doesn't mean being overly cheerful or fake happy all the time. It means creating an emotional atmosphere around you where people feel better after interacting with you. When your presence, others feel more alive, more seen, more hopeful. They naturally want to be around you. That pull doesn't come from looks, money, or status. It comes from energy. Every interaction you have leaves an emotional imprint. People won't always remember your exact words, but they'll always remember how they felt in your presence. If you make someone valued, heard, uplifted, or inspired, that feeling stays with them. It lingers in their thoughts long after you've left. That's how emotional association is built. And once your presence becomes linked to a positive emotional experience, that person starts craving it. It becomes addictive in the best way, not because you're trying to manipulate them, but because genuinely offers something that nourishes their spirit. Or being a source of positive emotion starts with how you manage your own energy. You can't pour into others if you're constantly drained or bitter. It doesn't mean you need to be perfect or without struggle, but it does mean choosing to lead with optimism, with gratitude, with strength. When you walk into a room and carry peace instead of cows, people feel that. When you speak life instead of criticism, people hear that. When you smile with authenticity, it softens walls. Your energy becomes a refuge. And in a world full of noise, people seek out refuge. Positivity doesn't mean you ignore problems or pretend everything is fine. It means you approach life with resilience. You bring humor to hard moments. You offer encouragement when others are unsure. You make people feel like they can breathe again. Sometimes it's just your calm presence. Other times it's your words. Sometimes it's your belief in someone who's forgotten how to believe in themselves. Those moments, small as they may seem, shape how people view you. They begin to associate you with strength, kindness, peace, or hope. Those are emotional anchors, and people cling to them without even realizing it. Laughter is one of the quickest ways to create that emotional bond. If you can make someone laugh, not at them, but with them, you immediately create a shared emotional high. Laughter relaxes the body, releases tension, and opens people up. It's a shortcut to connection. When someone knows that being around you guarantees a laugh, a lightness, a release from pressure, they start wanting that more often. They start looking forward to hearing from you, spending time with you, and thinking about you when you're not around. Kindness has the same effect. When you show genuine interest in someone's well-being, when you offer a word of encouragement, a compliment, a thoughtful gesture, it lands deeply, especially when it's unexpected. People are so used to being criticized, overlooked, or used that real kindness feels like a shock to the system. It touches something raw, something that's been neglected. And that moment becomes a point of connection. They don't just like you. They feel better because of you. And that feeling builds emotional dependency, not in a toxic way, but in a human way. People remember who made them feel safe, seen, appreciated. Even your silence can be a source of positivity. Sometimes just holding space for someone, being present without judgment or pressure, is enough. It allows people to exhale, to let their guard down. That kind of presence is healing. It's not loud, but it's powerful. And once someone experiences that peace with you, they'll want to come back to it again and again, not because of what you gave them, but because of how they felt when they were with you. Living with purpose is one of the most attractive and powerful things a person can embody. When you have something you're striving for, something meaningful that drives your actions and decisions, people notice. It creates a fire in your eyes, a direction in your steps, and a strength in your voice that others can feel even before you say a word. Purpose gives you presence. It gives you depth. It turns you from someone who simply exists to someone who is becoming, someone in motion, building, growing, evolving. That kind of energy draws people in because it's rare, and rarity creates fascination. A person with purpose doesn't wander aimlessly through life. They know what they want or, at the very least, what they don't want. They live with intention. That doesn't mean they've figured everything out or that every day is perfect. It means they wake up with something to pursue, something bigger than themselves. That pursuit creates momentum. Momentum is movement, and movement gets attention. People are naturally drawn to those who are going somewhere. They want to understand your journey. They want to walk beside you, even if just to feel a little of that forward motion themselves. Purpose is also a powerful filter. It shapes what you say yes to and what you say no to. It creates boundaries, and boundaries create respect. When someone sees that you don't compromise your values or get distracted by every little thing, they begin to respect you differently. You're not easily swayed. You're not desperate for approval. You're guided by something internal, something they can't touch or take away. That kind of self-possession is deeply attractive. It communicates that you are rooted, grounded, and focused. When you talk about what matters to you, your passion comes through. Your voice changes. Your energy lifts. You don't have to try to impress anyone because the fire in your words speaks for itself. Whether your purpose is tied to your work, your art, your faith, your family, or a personal mission, It gives you a level of clarity that most people are still searching for. And when you walk in that clarity, people can't help but take notice. They start to wonder what drives you. They start to question what drives them. And in that contrast, you become unforgettable. Purpose also gives you resilience. When life hits hard, and it will, purpose is what keeps you from giving up. It's what helps you push through the tough days, the disappointments, the setbacks. That strength is visible. People sense when someone has been through fire and come out refined instead of burned. They sense when someone is walking through storms and still holding their head high. That kind of strength, rooted in purpose, becomes a quiet source of inspiration. It doesn't need a spotlight. It doesn't need applause. It shines on its own. Being around someone with purpose can be life-changing. It challenges others to think bigger, live better, and stop settling. It wakes something up inside them, the part that's been sleeping, coasting, playing small. They start to ask themselves deeper questions, not because you preach to them, because your life demonstrated something different. That kind of influence lingers long after you leave the room. You don't just leave an impression, you spark transformation. So if you want to make people obsessed with you in the most authentic, powerful way, start by living with purpose. Chase what sets your soul on fire. Build something that matters. Speak from your why. Let your actions reflect your vision. Because the most magnetic person in any room is not the loudest or the flashiest. It's the one who knows exactly who they are and where they're going. And when you walk in that kind of purpose, you don't chase people. They follow.